TIFU by trolling my roommate and her friends and getting Baker acted. So I have an autoimmune issue that I've found has gotten better by dietary changes and intermittent fasting. I kind of accidentally figured out foods were causing my flare-ups. I have been on a somewhat restricted diet, but it's mainly just avoiding dairy, raw fruits and vegetables. I came across some videos by researchers saying fasting can be very good for autoimmune issues. And I was way less hungry on keto. So I figured I'd give it a shot. I planned to fast for a week if I could, taking in electrolytes and caffeine pills. I decided to troll my roommate and say I was now vegan and getting all my energy from the sun. She knew I was joking. Until she didn't. We both work from home. She realized I wasn't eating by the lack of dishes, etc. 2 days go by and she gets concerned and calls a helpline. And they tell her I might be psychotic and that she needs to call the police. They show up and it goes downhill rapidly. If people think you're crazy, you are until otherwise proven. They ask me what's going on and I explain I am just messing with my roommate, but that I am actually fasting because it can help with my medical issues. They ask me what medical issues I have, and I tell them an autoimmune issue doctors are still trying to diagnose. They ask if I have a mental health history and like the moron I am state I used to before the autoimmune issue was discovered, but have been in remission. They say, I thought you said they don't know what's wrong with you, and it continues to go downhill. I try explaining they know it's an autoimmune issue and that psych issues were ruled out by countless psychiatrists. They take this evidence that I've been to countless psychiatrists and ask me what I think about getting checked out. I offer to eat something in front of them and show them research that I'm trying out, but they just assume I'm going to bring up a Facebook group or something. They take me to the local psych hospital and I explain what happened, and after 2 days of eating normally and showing no symptoms I was released. TLDR, I decided to try fasting for medical issues and have a bit of fun telling my roommate I'm getting my energy from the sun. She calls a helpline. They make her call the police. And I shove my foot in my mouth and offer too much information and am taken to a psych hospital. Edit for the people chiming in with unsolicited medical opinions. I have an extremely long medical history. I've been sick most my life, and have probably been to more than 100 doctors in my life of virtually every branch of medicine. I didn't get better until I changed my diet. I've researched this more than you think I have talked to medical professionals in real life, and I don't want or need your suppositions based on your feelings. Edit 2. If you don't know the basics of keto, please save your breath. If you don't know that police officers can initiate Baker Acts, save your breath. If you don't have research to post and want to tell me how dangerous this is, save your breath. I promise I've been to more board-certified MDs than anyone in this thread. And your advice is likely predicated on assumptions that have already been brought up. I brought up fasting with my doctor and was monitored by him. And just because influencers say fasting is the cure to every known ailment doesn't mean it doesn't have any benefit. Anybody telling me I need therapy or are mentally ill will be blocked. I've been to real mental health providers and don't need you or your opinion. You're not helping, no matter how much you think you are. Well, that escalated quickly. Sorry that happened to you. If you have a history of psychiatric decompensation like you noted, and your roommate has any knowledge of this, then this is not something you should joke about. It's like if I had a history of suicide attempts, and I was just joking by saying I was leaving the house to jump off a bridge. The not eating can be a telltale sign of a manic episode. And those are nothing to play around with. Also, as I'm sure the mental health people told you, not eating for a week and taking stimulants is arguably not a good thing for your mental health. A certain number of people taken to the for page reasons are instead medically treated for UTI or diabetic cause that was the reason for their altered mental status. So even though it sounds like you were fine, definitely don't mess around with your roommate in the future when it comes to this. Honestly, that sucks. But your roommate was smart. Don't take that for granted because it is tricky to catch it early. Edit. Forgot to say, hope you're doing alright otherwise. That is crazy. I can vouch for this. There is no way to convince someone you aren't crazy. Again, when they think you are. The only thing you can do is smoke a cigarette while you wait for the ambulance. Again. You know, I use the word again a lot. Maybe they are onto something. Intermittent fasting is where you only eat between certain hours in a day. Not eating for a week is not intermittent fasting. It is self-harm. Your roommate was right to be concerned. When the police turn up because they've been called because they think you're acting psychotic, don't make jokes about mental health being in emission. Jesus XD. I hope you get help. What do you have against raw veggies and fruits? And this is why things like this shouldn't be assigned to police, who have zero training in anything but inflicting physical harm. If I may offer some timeless advice, don't talk to the damn police. Just don't. Do not call the cops on the mentally ill unless they are armed and dangerous. It's a good way to get that person killed. Usually, someone who is intermittent fasting still eats every day. So I'm not sure if this can be called that. This doesn't seem like a diet plan. Seems more like a digestive system reset. Just be careful because fasting for a week at a time really can take a toll on your body too if it's done too often. Congratulations on finding foods that don't mess up your autoimmune stuff. I know that sweet spot can be hard to find because they can be weird to find. There was a friend of a radio show I listened to who could only eat rice, fish, and steamed veggies. You should talk to your roommate and let them know you're going to be fasting every once in a while. In the future too. TBH, if you think you should go an entire week without eating to fix your autoimmune disease, you probably should be committed. Never, ever, talk to cops. They only exist to find a reason to arrest people. They don't prevent crime. They can't even try to prevent crime because until they see a crime, they can't legally act. It's so demoralizing that once someone thinks you're nuts, there's pretty much nothing you can say to disabuse them of that notion. Everything gets taken in the worst possible way. And almost everyone with complex diseases like autoimmune conditions go through a lengthy diagnosis that pretty much 100% of the time includes at least one lazy quack that will carelessly diagnose a psychiatric condition, even though they're a fracking cardiologist or allergist or something, and thereby foul up all the rest of your emergency, and pretty much all other care for the rest of your life. I was glad that the bogus diagnoses of, I dunno, psychogenic and anxiety, I guess, were put in paper records that didn't end up digitized. I was able to get away from that healthcare network and into another without dragging those false diagnoses with me. I'm still worried all the time that if I need emergency care, they're going to look at all my meds. So many are off-label. And go, whoa, nut job, get her out of here. Or just call the diagnoses I have made up, or be one of those weirdos who doesn't believe in conditions that were only relatively recently labeled. I'm so sorry you had to go through that whole experience. I hope your roommate learned not to do that again. I hope you're okay. That was very dramatic and all. But on a positive note, at least you know she cares about you. This is why I don't joke with people without immediately revealing that it's a joke. Lol. That feeling of not being believed is frustrating even though they were just doing their job. I'm sure a lot of people who have legit issues use those excuses from time to time. I was once sent to the psych department of my local hospital by my therapist to talk to them. I ended up being there for a while but was under the impression I'd be leaving the same day, so I parked my car for a few hours. Suddenly I realized my parking meter had run out and I was completely broke, so I got kinda stressed that I'd get a ticket. But as soon as I explained that I had to go out to the parking lot, the psychologist went into panic mode and thought I was trying to leave to kill myself. They told me it's not important, but I really couldn't afford a ticket. I started sweating trying to explain that I wasn't suicidal. I just needed to pay my parking ticket, but they were not having it, and the more I tried to explain, the more guilty I sounded. I wasn't allowed to leave until they were allowed to call my sister to bail me out and watch me the rest of the night. Really embarrassing. Lol, bless, at least she cares. The roommate who pees in her room and all over herself needs to be Baker acted too. Why can't anyone send her off? My worst fear is having my freedom taken from me and put on a psych hold for some arbitrary reason. Like this. Have you moved out yet?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.